Simon, Shimeon, old Shimeon. And he says, Yahweh, I have seen the baby, I've seen your salvation, I've seen Moshiach, now let your slave. Where was Shimeon serving Yahweh as an Eved to the people of Israel? Where was he serving Yahweh? In the tabernacle of Yahweh, in the bayit of Yahweh, in the house of Yahweh. Listen, if you don't remember anything else today, remember this. You cannot serve as a slave to Yahweh apart from the tabernacle of Yahweh's people. You cannot. That's called delusion. That's called Lone Rangerism. Being isolated. You want to show yourself to be a servant of Yahweh? You must find a tabernacle where Yahweh's people gather and serve them, even as you serve the Master. Amen. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. Because what made Shimeon a slave of Yahweh when he beheld the baby Yahushua? And he said, now let your servant depart in peace, for I have seen your light to lighten Israel and your glory to the nations. He was serving Yahweh where? In the temple, in the bayit, in the tabernacle of Yahweh. Amen. Did you understand that, brothers and sisters? You cannot fulfill your role as a slave to Yahweh without being part of an active, vibrant house of Yahweh where you can show that when someone asks you to do something or the need presents itself for you to take action, because love is action. Love is not saying, I love you. Love is going into action, swinging into action, doing something to show. For Yahweh so loved the world that he prayed. Is that what it says? No. Yahweh so loved the world that he thought sweet dreams about you over a cup of chamomile tea. Yahweh went out and bought green tea and thought about how much he loves you. Yahweh went organic. Okay, he loves you so much that he decided to make himself and go organic. He gave. And he gave at great cost and great personal price. He bled. The only sinless person ever born into this world who came in his own flesh. Amen. Amen. Now he didn't get his flesh from Miriam. He got it from heaven. He was a whole wheat unleavened bread. Everything about him. And that's why the Jewish people left him. He had millions of followers. Turn to your neighbor and say, he had millions of followers. He had millions of followers. Then he went down to 70. Here's Yeshua's program for church growth. Then he went down to 70. Then he gave them a teaching that was an antisocial gospel. He said, how many Talmidim and Shlichim do I have? 70, Master, and we'll follow you everywhere you go. He said, good, try this one. Now that you said you'd follow me everywhere you go, eat my flesh and drink my blood.
That's it.
Huh? Eat my, you love me? You love me? Good. Now eat my flesh and drink my blood. Can you imagine telling a bunch of Jewish people to eat his flesh and drink his blood? What's the first thing a Jewish person thinks of? Cannibalism. You're out of your mind. Rabbi, you are nuts. I think you fell asleep and the tzitzit choked oxygen out of your lungs. Maybe it's time you shorten your tzitzit. You come to reveal the Torah in its intended fullness, and you're telling us to eat your flesh and drink your blood? Adios, luego. Hasta luego, pasta luego, and mamma mia luego. And they stopped tithing, and they stopped tuning into the radio. So then what did Yeshua do? Did he go, woo! I think I'm going to go back to Buddhism. Uh-oh. Anti-social message. What did he do? He turned to the 12 and he goes, okay guys, what time are you guys leaving? And then thankfully, Shimon Kifa stood up and said, Master, we're not going anywhere. You have the words of Chaye Olam. Amen. Amen. And let's be honest, Henry. Jerry's dead. Let's be honest. If we were on earth and we were in synagogue and Yeshua told us to eat his flesh and drink his blood, if we were not avadim and if we did not perceive things by the Ruach HaKodesh, let's be honest, where would you be? Right out the door. I'd be into the parking lot, out the door on the cell phone, calling everybody saying, this is it. The rabbi's gone nuts. He's crazy. He told us, you know what he taught on today? Tell me. He told us to bring a fork and a knife, eat his flesh, and drink his blood. Now you know this man is nuts. And that's what they did. And that's probably what you would have done. Oh, it's easy years later with the Ruach HaKodesh and having the set-apart spirit showing us what he really meant, that I'm the whole wheat unleavened bread, and unless you receive me as the living manna, you won't have life in you. Okay, metaphorically and allegorically, we can perceive it, but the only reason we can perceive it allegorically and metaphorically is in light of history and in light of the indwelling of the Ruach HaKodesh. But try putting yourself in the synagogue on that day, and they're worried about me teaching about plural marriage. So I'll turn to the 12 and say, hey, you know, when are you leaving? You know, and I'm not trying to chase people away, not at all. But we are slaves of Yahweh, including the difficult antisocial doctrines that our master deposits us and burdens us to explain. Can I hear a good amen? I'm going to go quickly, I'm sorry. Luke 19:17. Luca 19 and 17. The Besorah of Luca 19:17. We know the parable of the pounds. One he gave 5, one he gave 10, so on and so forth. Well done, verse 17. You tov slave, because you have been faithful in little, take authority over 10 talents. Okay? And he said likewise to him, verse 19. So we see Yeshua calling his servants his slaves. If we produce fruit and we multiply the things that he has given us, he says in verse 17, well done, you tov slave. He doesn't say tov rabbi, tov pastor, tov deacon, tov bishop. He says, well done, you tov slave. Because you're a faithful slave. And you've been faithful in little things. And so now I want you to take authority over big things. So that's how Yeshua sees us. He sees us as his what? His avadim, his slaves. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Yochanan 12 and 26. Does anyone enjoy? Amen. Yochanan 12 and 26. John 12, 26. If any man serves me or is my slave, let him follow me. And where I am, there will my slave, my Eved, be also. If any man serves me or is my slave, him will my Abba honor. Let's continue. Again. If any man serves me as a slave, let him follow me as a slave, who has no choice but to follow. Where I am, my slave must also be. And if any man is enslaved by me, comes the honor from the Abba. Amen. So don't tell me slavery is not for today. Don't tell me that. You don't think that part of the Torah just disappeared and went away, do you? When Yeshua says heaven and earth will pass away until the Yud and the Nikudah will not pass away, he wasn't kidding. Slavery is here. Slavery is for today. But it's a slavery to Yeshua so that we can be slaves to one another. Does that make sense? Yes. And that's what Yeshua said here. It's so beautiful when you understand that what we're involved in is legal slavery. If any man is my servant, my slave, let him follow me. And there, wherever I am, he'll be. If anybody serves me. So why are we slaves for the Father? We want the honor that can only come from Yahweh alone, right? Why are we servants of Yahweh? Why are we servants of each other? Because we want the honor that can only come from the Father. What honor? Life, eternal, glorious. The heavenly Yerushalayim. The gift of salvation, the gift of forgiveness of sins, the gift of pardon of sins, the gift of unmerited favor. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. That's the gift of God. That's the gift because we are slaves and servants of Yahweh. Amen. Amen. He has given us the gift of unmerited favor. The gift of Ephesians 1:4. We are declared holy and blameless before Him in love. You feel holy and blameless all the time? I don't. But He says, you are holy and blameless before me in love. When did that holiness and blameless condition start? Before the foundation of the world. So if I declared you to be born, then born again, and then holy and blameless in love, I had to create the world to fulfill my declaration of you before the foundation of the world. I declared you, Vincent, to be holy, washed, forgiven, pardoned, holy and blameless in love, and I had to create the world to put you in it because you didn't exist, because I already declared you to be holy and blameless, and I had to go about all of creation and the fall of Adam v'Chava to put you in it, redeem you, and then fulfill my declaration about you that you are holy and blameless before me in love. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. And that's what it means to be a slave of Yahweh. So we are His slave to do whatever He wants us to do, and not what man wants us to do, but in return, we are declared forgiven, pardoned, and holy and blameless before Yahweh in love. Now let me ask you a question. Who else has accepted you like Yeshua has accepted you? Nobody. You're holy, you're blameless. There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are Mashiach Yeshua. To those who are led by the Ruach and not by the flesh. There is now no condemnation. Man may condemn you, friends may condemn you, your parents may condemn you, your employer may condemn you, your associates may condemn you, others may condemn you, but in Yeshua HaMashiach there is no condemnation, because for slaves there is no condemnation. Because the slave just does what he's asked to do. A servant. Maaseh Shlichim 26:16. But if you're still trying to exercise your own will, you're not a servant. You're not a slave. And let's be honest with yourself. Do you sometimes choose to exercise your will as opposed to Yahweh's will? Well, in those instances, you're falling short of being a slave, a servant of Yahweh. Is anyone with me? Amen. I said, is anyone with me? Amen. A servant subjugates their own will and their own desire to fulfill his will and his desire. And you've heard me say many times, and many people have accused me, and they've come against me. There are a lot of places I'd rather be than in Broward County on Shabbat. Let me give you one for example, Fort Myers Beach. With a glass of wine looking at the ocean. Have you heard me say that before? And I've had people say, that's it. I'm so tired of hearing that he doesn't want to be there. Well, you lying mama, you don't want to go to work either. And you don't want to keep taking orders from the same boss and keep arguing with the same people in the same office. I'm just being honest. I'm just keeping it real. Why am I still here after all the people that have taken me and made my name mud and accused me for everything from being a traitor to being a demon to being Beelzebub to being a pedophile to running a sex cult? Why am I still here? I'm a slave. I'm a slave. Amen. You're a slave. That is the most noblest appellation that anybody's going to ever lay on you. So next time someone says you're just a dumb slave for Yahweh, and they give you that appellation, that moniker, you say, lay it on me. Lay it on me. Yeah, that's right, I'm a sheep. I'm a sheep following Yeshua into the glorious ministry of his service. So the principle of slavery is still for today. And that's how you always have victory in Yeshua. You subjugate your desire and your will